Most people spend their entire adult life believing that retirement will be the moment when everything finally becomes calm and peaceful, when they no longer have to rush, compete, or prove themselves to anyone, and when life will naturally become happier simply because work has ended. Yet what almost no one prepares them for is the fact that retirement does not just remove a job from their life, but quietly removes structure, direction, and meaning at the same time, leaving behind long days that look free on the surface, but slowly feel empty and confusing on the inside. For decades, their days were shaped by responsibility, routine, and a sense of usefulness because someone needed them to show up, to decide, to fix problems, or to guide others. And when that role suddenly disappears, the mind does not celebrate freedom as much as people expect, but instead begins to feel lost, disconnected, and strangely tired, even though the body is technically resting more than ever before. This is why so many seniors do not decline overnight, but begin to fade quietly after retirement, not because they are weak or lazy, but because the inner engine that once pushed them forward is no longer being used, and like any muscle that is left untouched for too long, it slowly starts to weaken. Reason 1: the loss of purpose that no one warns you about. When a person retires, they do not just stop working, they often stop feeling needed. And when days pass without anyone depending on them, asking for their opinion, or expecting their contribution, the brain slowly receives the message that effort is no longer required, which leads to lower motivation, less curiosity, weaker emotional engagement with life, and eventually a deep sense of boredom that many seniors mistake for normal aging. Without a reason to wake up early, to plan the day, or to solve problems that matter to someone else, the mind begins to drift. Energy drops without a clear explanation. Small aches feel heavier. Sleep becomes irregular. And over time, this loss of purpose begins to affect physical health as well, because the body follows the signals sent by the mind. And a mind that feels unnecessary will gradually allow the body to slow down too. Many retirees say they are resting more than ever, but feeling more exhausted, sleeping longer but waking up with less enthusiasm, and enjoying freedom in theory, while quietly feeling that life has become smaller, flatter, and less meaningful, which is not an unavoidable part of aging, but a warning sign that purpose has been removed too suddenly and never replaced. Reason 2: social isolation that happens without you noticing. One of the most dangerous changes after retirement is not something dramatic or sudden, but something so quiet and gradual that many seniors do not even realize it is happening until years have passed. Because when work ends, daily conversations disappear at the same time, casual interactions fade away, and the simple human contact that once happened naturally through meetings, phone calls, shared lunches, or small talk slowly vanishes without being formally replaced by anything else. At first, most retirees tell themselves that they are enjoying peace and quiet, that they finally have time alone, and that not having to deal with people every day feels relaxing. But over time, the brain begins to suffer from the lack of stimulation that comes from regular social interaction, leading to slower thinking, weaker memory, lower emotional resilience, and a growing sense of loneliness that does not always feel like sadness, but often feels like emptiness, boredom, or emotional numbness. Humans are not designed to live in isolation, especially as they age, and when days pass without meaningful conversation, shared laughter, disagreement, or emotional connection, the brain begins to conserve energy, emotions become flatter, motivation drops even further, and physical health can decline as well, because loneliness increases stress hormones in the body, weakens the immune system, and quietly raises the risk of heart disease, depression, and cognitive decline, even if the person believes they are coping just fine. Many seniors do not say they are lonely because they still see family occasionally, watch television, or scroll through their phones, but none of those activities replace real conversation, where thoughts are exchanged, feelings are acknowledged, and a person feels seen and heard. And without that, the mind slowly turns inward in unhealthy ways, replaying worries, regrets, and fears that grow louder in the silence. Reason 3. A sudden drop in daily movement and physical challenge. Another major reason many seniors decline quickly after retirement is that without realizing it, their level of daily physical movement drops sharply, not because they consciously choose to stop moving, but because work used to provide built-in activity, such as walking, standing, lifting, commuting, or simply being on a schedule. And once that structure disappears, long hours of sitting quietly take its place. Many retirees believe that as long as they are not completely inactive, their body will naturally maintain itself. But the truth is that the aging body requires more intentional movement than before, not less. And when muscles, joints, and balance systems are no longer challenged regularly, strength fades, flexibility tightens, posture worsens, and confidence in movement slowly disappears, making everyday activities feel harder and more tiring than they used to be. This physical slowdown does not just affect the body, but also deeply affects the brain, because movement increases blood flow, oxygen, and chemical signals that keep the mind sharp and emotionally stable. And when movement decreases, mental fog, low mood, poor sleep, and increased anxiety often follow, creating a cycle where feeling tired leads to less movement, and less movement leads to feeling even more tired. Over time, small physical limitations can quietly turn into major life restrictions, because when walking feels uncomfortable, balance feels uncertain, or strength feels unreliable, people naturally begin to avoid activity, stay home more often, and rely on others more than they need to, which further accelerates decline and reinforces the false belief that this is simply what getting old looks like. Reason 4. Mental stagnation and the slow shutdown of the brain. After retirement, many seniors unknowingly stop challenging their minds in meaningful ways, not because they no longer care about learning or thinking, but because the daily mental demands that once forced their brain to stay alert, flexible, and engaged suddenly disappear. And without pressure to solve problems, make decisions, remember details, or adapt to new situations, the brain begins to operate on autopilot, doing only what is familiar and comfortable. When days are filled with the same routines, the same television programs, the same conversations, and the same thoughts repeated over and over again, the brain receives fewer signals to grow and reorganize itself, which leads to slower processing speed, weaker memory, reduced attention, and a growing resistance to anything new, unfamiliar, or mentally demanding, even though these challenges are exactly what the aging brain needs to stay healthy. Many retirees believe that mental decline is inevitable and that forgetting names, losing focus, or struggling to learn new things is simply part of getting older. But in reality, the brain is highly responsive to use, and when it is no longer pushed to stretch, adapt, and engage deeply, it conserves energy by shrinking its effort, which over time creates the very decline people fear. This mental stagnation often shows up quietly through increased irritability, reduced patience, difficulty following complex conversations, or a tendency to avoid situations that require thinking or learning. And as the brain becomes less active, confidence decreases, curiosity fades, and the world begins to feel overwhelming rather than interesting. Reason 5. Emotional withdrawal and the loss of connection with life. Another overlooked reason many seniors decline after retirement is emotional withdrawal, which happens when people slowly pull back from life, not because they are unhappy, but because they no longer feel emotionally invested in what is happening around them. And when there are fewer goals, fewer relationships to maintain, and fewer reasons to care deeply, emotions naturally become muted and distant. Over time, many retirees stop expressing their thoughts, opinions, and feelings as openly as they once did, either because they feel they are no longer relevant, do not want to be a burden, or believe that others are not interested. And this emotional silence slowly weakens their sense of identity, belonging, and self-worth. When emotions are not expressed, processed, or shared, they do not disappear, but instead turn inward, often showing up as chronic low mood, anxiety, unexplained frustration, or a sense of numbness that makes life feel dull and repetitive, even though nothing specific seems wrong. This emotional withdrawal also reduces resilience because people who are emotionally engaged with life recover faster from illness, adapt better to change, and maintain stronger social bonds, while those who withdraw emotionally often feel more fragile, isolated, and overwhelmed by even small challenges, which further accelerates both mental and physical decline. How to avoid decline after retirement? Solution 1. Create a new purpose before the old one disappears. The most important thing a person can do before or after retirement is to consciously replace their old sense of purpose with a new one, because the human mind does not function well in a vacuum, and when work ends without something meaningful taking its place, the brain slowly loses direction, motivation, and energy, even if the body is resting more than ever. A healthy retirement is not about doing nothing, but about choosing something that makes you feel useful again, whether that is mentoring younger people, helping grandchildren with life skills rather than just babysitting, volunteering a few hours a week, learning a skill that can be shared with others, or even turning a lifelong hobby into something structured and purposeful. Because purpose does not need to be grand or impressive, it simply needs to make you feel that your presence still matters. When seniors wake up with a reason to get out of bed, a plan for the day, and a sense that someone or something is waiting for them, their posture improves, their energy increases, their mood stabilizes, and their health outcomes improve as well, not because they are trying to stay young, but because they are staying engaged with life in a meaningful way. Solution 2. Treat social connection as a daily necessity, not a luxury. To avoid rapid decline after retirement, social connection must be treated with the same importance as food, sleep, and physical activity, because humans are wired for interaction, and without regular conversation, emotional exchange, and shared experiences, the brain slowly loses flexibility, emotional balance, and resilience. This does not mean forcing yourself into busy social schedules or large gatherings if that does not suit your personality, but it does mean intentionally creating regular moments of real human contact, such as meeting a friend for a walk, joining a small community group, taking a class, or simply having meaningful conversations where thoughts and feelings are exchanged rather than just polite small talk. What matters most is consistency, because regular social interaction keeps the brain stimulated, reduces stress hormones, strengthens emotional regulation, and provides a sense of belonging that protects against loneliness, depression, and cognitive decline, even if the interactions are simple and quiet. Solution 3. Move your body every day with purpose, not intensity. Many seniors believe that exercise must be intense, painful, or exhausting to be effective, which often leads them to avoid movement altogether. But the truth is that the aging body responds best to regular, purposeful movement that challenges balance, strength, flexibility, and coordination in gentle but consistent ways. Daily walking, light strength training, stretching, balance exercises, or even purposeful household activities can dramatically slow physical decline when done with awareness and intention, because movement keeps muscles strong, joints flexible, blood flowing, and the brain well nourished with oxygen and growth signals. When movement becomes part of a daily routine rather than an occasional effort, confidence in the body returns, fear of falling decreases, sleep improves, and energy levels rise, creating a positive cycle where feeling better encourages more movement, and more movement supports better overall health. Solution 4. Keep your brain slightly uncomfortable on purpose. To stay mentally sharp after retirement, seniors must intentionally place their brain in situations that feel slightly uncomfortable, unfamiliar, or challenging, because growth and maintenance happen when the brain is required to adapt rather than repeat the same patterns every day. Learning a new language, technology, musical instrument, or complex skill forces the brain to form new connections, improve memory, and maintain flexibility, even if progress feels slow or frustrating at first. And this mental effort is one of the strongest protections against cognitive decline. The goal is not perfection or speed, but engagement, because a brain that is actively learning remains curious, confident, and capable, while a brain that avoids challenge slowly loses its ability to cope with change and complexity. Solution 5. Stay emotionally engaged with life, even when it feels easier to withdraw. One of the most powerful ways to avoid decline after retirement is to remain emotionally present and engaged, even when life feels quieter, slower, or less demanding, because emotional connection gives meaning to experiences and strengthens psychological resilience. This means expressing opinions, sharing stories, staying interested in the lives of others, and allowing yourself to care deeply about people, projects, and ideas, rather than slowly pulling back and becoming emotionally distant in the name of peace or simplicity. Emotional engagement keeps the heart open, the mind flexible, and the sense of identity strong, all of which contribute to better mental and physical health as people age. Retirement is not the end of life, but it often becomes the point where many people slowly disappear from their own story, not because they are weak, sick, or incapable, but because no one ever taught them that stepping away from work also requires stepping toward something new. And without purpose, connection, movement, mental challenge, and emotional engagement, the human body and mind naturally begin to shut down in ways that look like aging but are actually signs of disconnection from life. Decline after retirement is not inevitable, and it is not written in your age, your genetics, or your past mistakes, but in the daily choices you make once external structure disappears. Because the moment you stop being curious, stop being useful, stop being connected, and stop caring deeply, life does not end suddenly, but it becomes smaller, quieter, and heavier with each passing year. The truth is that many seniors who stay strong, sharp, and fulfilled well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond are not special or lucky, but simply continue to live with intention, creating reasons to wake up, reasons to move, reasons to think, and reasons to care, even when no one is forcing them to do so anymore. If you are retired or approaching retirement, I want you to remember this one simple truth. Your life is not over just because your job is, and the years ahead can be some of the most meaningful, connected, and fulfilling years you have ever lived, but only if you choose to stay engaged with life rather than slowly stepping away from it. Start small, but start today by choosing one thing that gives you purpose, one person you will connect with regularly, one way you will move your body every day, and one mental challenge that keeps your brain alive and curious. Because these small choices, repeated consistently, shape the direction of your health, your happiness, and your future far more than age ever will. And if this message resonated with you or reminded you of someone you care about, please share this video with them, because sometimes a single idea heard at the right time can completely change the way someone experiences their later years. Thank you for spending this time with me. And remember, retirement is not about slowing down life. It is about choosing how you continue to live it.